Sometimes I think like it's almost like we treat the YouTube algorithm like the mean girl in class or like the popular girl in class, where we're like, do you like this? Do you like me now? Does this make me popular? And we spend so much time trying to get just the right thumbnail and just the right title and just the right description and the things that we talk about and hook them right away so they watch your video, and also very well-meaning people talking about how to grow your YouTube channel, saying things like, make sure you do videos that are valuable, make sure they're helpful and useful and of service to your viewers, or whatever it is. And it's just like, it can just, hang on, I thought I had a bug on my arm. We have ants around here for now. I think just sometimes it can it's kept me from actually recording videos. For example, yesterday I was going to start recording this video and I stopped and didn't, because I just couldn't figure out how to do it perfectly and just right. I couldn't figure out how to do it right. And then this evening, I was coming up with all these ideas. Like, I could title it this, or I could have a thumbnail like this, and I think this would maybe make people click, or this would be good in the algorithm, or I have to figure. It's like, and then not only that, then I'm trying to figure out my hair. My hair is more convenient up, but it kind of looks better down, so maybe I should put it down. And then I was like, but I just want to put my hair up. And you guys, all I wanted to do is like, I read some books and then I wanted to tell you about them. And then I went to overthink it almost to the point of not even doing it. Because why? I'm trying to make the popular girl, the algorithm, happy with me. Here's the thing. Not everyone who watches YouTube videos is interested in books that I personally am reading, which is totally fine, because I'm not always interested in the books that other people are reading. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. And it just depends on the person and how I'm feeling and the vibe of the video, if it matches up with how I'm feeling. You know how it goes. You click on a video and you see how it makes you feel, and then you keep watching or you don't. So I know that the videos of me talking about the books that I've read are just not as popular. But you guys, I read books and I love talking about them. Like, why can't I just make a video of me talking about my books without having to worry that, like, oh, people aren't going to like it? Like, if people don't like it, it's fine. Some people will like it. So I'm just saying, I didn't have a clever thumbnail, a clever title. It may not increase my click-through rate and watch time. How about we just make videos that we want to make, and then we upload them, because that's kind of what YouTube is, right? Like, when did it become this thing that was like, feed the algorithm and the audience and give them what they want? Like, I'm just making videos in my apartment, which, by the way, please notice the progress. I think if you caught last week's video or last time's video, I think it's been a week, you will have noticed that we moved. So this is our new apartment. I don't know if you've seen it yet. If you see things moving on their own, it's from the fan. I hope. Just kidding. What was I saying? Yes. So in my last video, I was saying, like, it'd be kind of cool to, like, keep recording from this perspective so that maybe you guys can slowly watch us make progress as we put things away. Unfortunately, you are still sitting on a stack of books. 1, 2, 3. You're on a stack of 4 books in decreasing size as they go up. I do have a chair this time. That's progress. But yeah, I'm surrounded by stuff. But we have made progress putting things away. But, there's no time crunch and we're tired from the move. So slowly but surely we're getting things put away. Eventually, you guys, we have to unpack the boxes you're sitting on at some point. So I'm glad that it's working out at this vantage point, and it'll be fun for the comparison of, like, seeing any progress that we make in the backgrounds. But eventually, we'll have to unpack these boxes that you're sitting on, and I'll probably, over at this place area where it's currently a gathering of everything. That is the dining room, which is like dining room, kitchen in one room. So that's where our dining room table is going to go. So eventually, I think I will actually, let's say actually, 5 times. I actually will actually be probably actually recording from whenever we get the table set up over there. Right now, it's kind of the catch-all zone. It's one of the catch-all zones. We have one next to me that I'm not going to show you because it's a sight to behold. But here's one thing I do want to say. And this is what I've been wanting to tell you. And this is what I was overthinking too much that I almost didn't say. Moving has been tiring and exhausting, and I've been feeling all kinds of feelings. Really, really grateful for this place. It's one of the only affordable, like within our budget, where we could actually keep saving a good amount of money. In our area is quite expensive for rent and for housing in general. So we're really grateful to have found this place and renting from some really great people. So not everybody can say that. And so we're grateful for that. But also it's a huge change. And like I said in previous videos, we had to downsize a ton. And so there's also just change. We were living at our previous place for almost 10 years, like our whole marriage, actually. So we got married and then moved in there. It was my husband's grandparents' home. So, we were there for quite some time. And so, it's just changed. So I've been feeling a lot of different feelings of like gratitude and happiness and really excited for all the great things about our current place. And then also just the kind of discombobulation that comes with a complete change in your life, in your surroundings. Thankfully, we moved just like 6 minutes away from where we were before. So our commutes and all those kinds of things, grocery stores, all of those things are going to stay the same. So there's some familiarity there, but it's just, I don't know, it can feel very disorienting just having everything change. But something that has helped me, well, there's a lot of things that have helped me, but one of the things that has helped me is still being able to read in the midst of all this. So in one of my previous videos, I was like, I don't know, am I going to be reading during packing time? How is this going to look? And so you may have seen my video about, I think I called it like the Book Lover's Guide to Packing or Book Lover's Guide to Moving, where I talk, here's my strategy of how to make sure I can access books that I want to read in the midst of this process. And it worked. It worked, you guys. So, and actually one of the very first things when it came to unpacking and getting set up, one of the very first things that got set up was the bookshelf. So I felt really good about that. So I've been reading some books and it's just been a really nice thing. Like books can be so comforting and familiar, even if, it's a brand new story. So my reading habit has held strong and I've read some books and I want to tell you about them. And if you're not interested in books, that's totally fine. You can enjoy the background and take note of anything that changes in the next video. I don't know, unless we unpack these videos. Unless we unpack these boxes before the next video. We'll see how it goes. Just hang in there with me and enjoy the adventure of the ever-changing things. But now for the book portion, because that's really what I've been wanting to tell you. The lesson in all of this is if you're wanting to do a YouTube channel or you have a YouTube channel and you find yourself constantly stressing about like, what's the best thumbnail? This thumbnail isn't performing well. This title isn't performing well. And YouTube loves to tell you very helpfully, some areas for growth are maybe changing up your thumbnail as a more engaging, and you're like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not a professional social media professional. Just want to talk about things and record them. So let's start, shall we? As I lean over, you can see a little more of the apartment. We've got our fans going. We have an awesome window unit. The place is small enough so that we can have like one, you can't see it, but in that window we have like an AC unit and it keeps the whole place nice and cool. It's amazing. That's one of the blessings of being here, is that in the heat waves, we've been able to stay nice and cool with a combo of the ceiling fans and the AC Anyways, let's talk about some books. They're way over here on another stack of boxes. Hang on. Wait for me. Okay. So, The Etruscan Smile by Velda Johnston, the book that I bought for the cover. There it is. I bought this book for the cover, and I think in my last video that the most recent video where I did talk about books, I mentioned that I was reading it. What is happening with the lighting? Are you seeing that? Is that from the... Oh, I think it's from the ceiling fan. Is like... Because there's one in this room. When I'm looking at the title, I'm like, why is the title like... I don't know if you can see it. Maybe it's not doing it anymore. That was interesting. Like, why is the title going fuzzy, not fuzzy? Fuzzy, not fuzzy. Yeah, it's not doing it anymore. Anyways, you can always pause that and go back and... Oh, yeah, there we go. There's the angle. Do you see that? Are you seeing this from that angle? It's going fuzzy, not fuzzy. Okay, I don't want to mess with anyone's vision, so I want to make sure it doesn't do that. Okay, I bought this for the cover. It is a good mystery. It was written in, I think, 1970 or 1979, maybe 1970. And it's a good mystery. It's about a woman whose sister moves to Italy and then goes missing. And so she brings her dog with her to Italy and is like, I'm going to find my sister and figure out what's going on. It's a good mystery, but I will tell you this. I have never encountered a book like this before where I was intrigued by the mystery. I didn't guess the reveal at all. It was a good mystery, and I'm glad I read it. Kind of, but you guys, two main, giant, awful, sad things happen. And that's like the wrap up. It's like, and the end. Like, they solve it, but like, I'm like, come on, Velda Johnston, did you have to rip my heart out like that? Like, two things happen where you're like, no. Oh, no. I mean, the mystery was intriguing, but I'm telling you, two things happen. I don't want to give any spoilers, but let me tell you first, for one of the sad things, look carefully at this cover. I'm giving you a spoiler by what I'm showing you. Yes, something happens. That's all I'm going to say. And then another sad thing happens. So I'm just like, they solve the mystery, but I'm like, I don't know, was it worth it? Because I don't want that sad stuff to happen. But I love the cover so much. But I will be giving it away because, I mean, I thought about putting it up somewhere in the new place because I'm like, it's just a beautiful painting. And I don't know, I don't want to remember those sad things in the story. I was not expecting it. It was a great twist. Like, I did not see any of it coming at all. But it just... Anyway, let's move on to this one. Here in America, it was recently the 4th of July celebration for our 250th anniversary, do you call it that, of being a country. Let's let that pause hang in the air there because this is not a political channel, but interpret the pause as you wish. But I did want to be festive, and I had this book for, I think, almost a year. I had bought it, I think, like last summer after 4th of July had already come and gone, I think is what happened. And, Sweet Tea and Secrets by Joy Avon. And if you've been around here for enough time, you know about me and cozy mysteries. You know that I hate to love them. Shall we call it that? You know that in these there's going to be predictable plot typos, ridiculous, over-the-top characters that are not very realistic. And yet, Kendall keeps reading them. I keep reading them because my brain is like, what a cozy place. And so I read this book. It barely was about 4th of July, but I read it since we moved here to the new place on July 1st. It was kind of fun to get started reading it and be reading it like, hey, this is the first book that I'm reading in the new place, and it's around July 4th, and we were here around July 4th, so it was kind of sentimental in that way. But it was exactly everything that I just described about cozy mysteries. I was thinking, literally yesterday, I was remembering this book. And again, what always happens is as I'm reading these, I'm like, when is this over? When can we just find out who done it? And then move on to a different kind of story. I did that, and then I finished the story, and then later my brain was like, remember that story? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I couldn't wait to get through that and just get to the next thing. Anyways, so yesterday when my brain was like, remember that cozy place and that story? And I was like, yeah. And then inside my brain, I was trying to jog my own memory, and I was like, do you remember who done it? And I was like, I do remember who done it. And then I was like, now why? What was their motive for committing the crime? I was like, I genuinely don't remember. You guys, I just read this book like 5 days ago. I think I finished it. Anyways, it's about a small town and a woman coming back to her hometown. And she's trying to decide if she's going to stay or go. And then this thing happens around a special event. And then she's a citizen who meddles in police business, of course, and tries to solve the crime. I mean, if you've read one, you've read them all, kind of, right? Anyways, I read that. I'm glad I read it. And I don't remember why the person did what they did. Even though that was one of the things getting me through the story. Like, who did it and why? What's happening here? I predicted some of the things, but not the main thing. So, Okay, and then this next one was an intense read. And let me just show you. This one is called Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. There we go. So this was an intense read. I read it in I think I read it in 3 days or something. So my brain was like, 3 or 4 days. Anyways, maybe 4 days, but it was intense because it's not a small book. It's not super long, but it's also not small. You may have seen in a previous video where I picked this up. I talked about it in a book haul. Got it in a used bookstore over New Year's Eve on a trip we went on, and picked it up. And I knew ahead of time, okay, her story is going to be really intense. I didn't know all the details, of course, because I actually had never heard of her before. I just saw this on the shelf at the used bookstore and was like, wow, what's her story? So I bought it. So I didn't really know all the things going into it, but it's a really intense read. And she is a very complex and honestly controversial person. And I didn't really know. I went into it very blind, I guess you could say, very unaware. I went into it unaware of anything of what I was going to learn. So basically, this is Ayaan's memoir. She grew up in Somalia, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and then as an adult moved to Holland. Yes. I think, yes. Amsterdam? Anyways, she moved to the Netherlands and as a refugee. And so it was an epic, intense, painful, very intense and painful story to read. And I appreciate her for sharing everything that she went through, what her family went through, what her fellow citizens in the various places she lived had gone through. I learned a lot about the politics and the social structures of all the different places that she lived. She was born in, I think, 1969, so it covers the 70s, 80s, 90s, and goes up to early 2000s. And I think she wrote the book in 2006 or 2007. So it basically is her story of her family experiences, war that she encountered, her beliefs that she grew up with, and then her her story of how she completely changed what she believed, and then the implications of that, and then her needing to have security guards follow her because of things she was saying and doing. And it was intense, and I was very hooked on reading it. It read like almost like a novel, but I wanted to know what was going to happen to her, what was going to happen to her family members. Was she going to be okay? How? I mean, obviously she survives the things she's gone through, but I didn't know how, So I was like, I need to keep reading because I wanted to know how she survives these awful, awful situations. And so I learned a lot, and just my opinions, like, how would I evaluate what I read? Like, it's such a complex situation because she was raised with one set of beliefs, very intense beliefs, and then as an adult, she completely, becomes like an atheist. And that at the end of this, so that was like 20 years ago when she wrote this. So that's the last that of her beliefs in this, is that she's an atheist. Well, then I looked her up. Well, let me, before I say how it gets more complex when I look up things about her after in the last 20 years. Before that, she is wanting to raise awareness for how women are treated, and there's content warnings for like abuse and war-torn country details of things happening. It's very heartbreaking. So be prepared if you're going to read it. It's intense, like I said. But she has a very important cause that she is speaking up about, from personal experience and from her family's experience. So like, you're reading what she's doing and like, wow, good for her. This is incredible. Like, it's a miracle that she is alive through all the things she went through, and that she got to, become part of parliament it's somewhere in the Netherlands. I just read it. I don't know why I can't remember the exact word, but anyway, she got to be parliament in a European country. And so, like, to be able to be part of politics in a country that you become a citizen of, it's just like it's amazing what she was able to get through and to do and to speak up for people. And so, you read that, and then, like, obviously I'm not an atheist. If you've been here any length of time, you know that I'm not in any way an atheist at all. But I could see her journey and look at the world through her eyes and be like, wow, okay. So then I'm like, when I had picked up this book in the bookstore, a family member of mine knew of her and was like, oh, things have changed since she's written that book. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, saying battery power low. I didn't know I was at 15%. Wow. Okay. Hopefully I don't go down 15% while I'm talking. Anyways, so a family member told me, like, actually things have majorly changed since she wrote this book. And I was like, So I look her up after I read the book. I usually do that after a biography or autobiography, and I'm like, oh, what are they up to now? What are they doing these days? You guys, she's a controversial, complex person, because the things I was reading, like, she's changed her beliefs. She's not an atheist anymore. I'll let you do your own Google search on what's going on, but I was like, hey, hang on, like, things that she's said and done where I was like, oh no, like, it's just a very interesting arc of someone's life and beliefs. It's kind of shocking, like a roller coaster of her path is very surprising. Let me put it that way. Surprising, and some of the things that I read, I was like, oh dear. But I will say I learned a ton from her story. It was very eye-opening. I think there are general statements she makes of whole people groups that I would say actually need nuance. And there's, as they say, you win more with honey than vinegar. Like, it seems like her approach is a little bit more like, well, this is the truth, so I need to say it. Like, and I'm like, okay, but people need to feel, instead of us just going around and telling people that they're wrong, we need to listen or have empathy or think about like what actually helps people come to more healthy beliefs, shall we say. I'm being vague because, again, this is not that kind of channel. But I'm just saying, feel free to Google her life, see what I'm talking about. But it was an intense read. And part of why I think I read it so fast, well, one is because I was hooked on it. I was like, if it was, a streaming service, I'd be like, next episode. And then it would be like, are you still watching? I'd be like, yes, keep, like I wanted to know what was going to happen to her because her life was very, very intense. She's been through truly horrific things, and came out the other side trying to make the world a better place for a lot of people. So that's the positives. But also I think part of why I was reading it so fast was because I wanted to, and on the other hand, it was so intense and just a lot of horrific things that I kind of wanted to be like, I also kind of just want to finish this book so I can move on. I was kind of like craving fiction again. Like I had just read a super cheesy cozy mystery, and then to jump into such intense real life stuff was like, I was like, oh yeah, I think this is why I stick usually with like lighter stuff. But anyways, I read that and it gave me all kinds of things to think about, which is good in a book if it makes you think, and causes discussions. If you can have healthy diplomatic discussions on things, I think that's good. Or to challenge your beliefs or to help you think through what you believe and why. So I'm glad I read it, and I'm glad she made it through everything that she went through. It's a very impressive story in many, many ways. So, but just know, like, if you look more into her life, it takes an interesting turn, a very interesting turn. So anyways, now the book I am reading, well, I haven't started yet, but my bookmark is in it because probably tomorrow I'll start reading it. Maybe tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Is The Proper Place by O. Douglas. And you may have seen me mention this in a previous video. Oh, my book organizing, packing, book lover's guide to packing video. I mentioned that this is one of the books I wanted to keep out because I specifically ordered this book online because it was written like 100 years ago, I think. It has a new cover, but it was written 100 years ago. And the summary that I heard another booktuber, YouTuber explain it as is that there's a family that has to move somewhere that's like not their ideal place and circumstances. And so I was like, and they're learning how to be content and appreciate what they have in their new place. And I was like, wow, I need that book because I knew what was coming up for us. So it's a very small, thin book. But yeah, so I'm going to read that, and then I will keep you posted on that one. And so let me know in the comments what you're reading. If you like hearing what other people are reading. If you don't like hearing what other people are reading, then why did you keep watching? Maybe you secretly do like books and reading and hearing what other people are reading. I'm just saying, there's a chance. Also, feel free to check out my Buy Me a Coffee site. For anyone who is not on a tight budget, you can do one-time donations there to support the channel, or monthly memberships. They start at $2 a month. I'm also selling the gratitude journal, the Honest Gratitude Journal, that makes room for all kinds of feelings, not just the nice feelings. All right, enough said. Thank you for watching. If you got this far and you don't know what to say, give me like some sort of maybe book emoji. And thank you for watching, and tune in for next time when we shall see if any of this situation in that catch-all corner, we will see if there's much progress made there in the next video. All right. Thanks for watching and take care, everybody. Bye.